Good morning and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm with the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, the benefits of career and technical schools, sponsored by Porter and Chester Institute. Porter and Chester Institute has 9 campuses throughout Connecticut and Massachusetts, and Porter and Chester Institute is also a 15-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 10,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation and our scholarship programs to www.imagine-america.org. Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Porter and Chester Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how Porter and Chester Institute is helping meet this need is Jack Burke. Jack is the Director of Admissions and Marketing at Porter and Chester Institute and has been working with high schools for over 15 years, so you're in good hands today. But before turning the program over to Jack, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants can submit questions while the presentation is in session via the chat feature in this Zoom meeting or the Q&A feature. At the end of the presentation, or approximately 10:25, I'll then present any questions offered by the participants, and we will address as many questions as possible and provide written responses and follow-up emails if necessary. We have a hard close at 10:30 a.m. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Jack Burke. Jack, the floor is yours.
Oh, great. Thanks very much, Lee. Lee and I have worked together, as you said, for over 15 years, and it's absolute pleasure. Total professional. I love working with Lee and Imagine America. Again, my position as Corporate Director of Admissions and Marketing is I manage the 12 campuses. We have 9 campuses in New England. We have 3 campuses down in Pennsylvania under the name of York Technical Institute. Of course, we're talking about PCI right now, Porter and Chester Institute. I promise I will get to the meat of the matter here. So I'm just going to kind of hit the gas. So we'll take right off here. So Porter and Chester Institute, you're probably familiar. Maybe most of you are somewhat familiar with us. If you are, then some of this will be a repeat. If you're not, then at least I'll get a quick introduction to you. We are education and training opportunities that are around career. It's all around the career, and that's a specific intention for us. Our curriculum is designed and created by what employers are looking for, and I'll touch on some of that. These pictures that you're going to see throughout the presentation, I'd say about 90% of them are all our students. Very few stock photos. Which is always a good thing to point out. Our agenda here is, of course, Lee has already done a fantastic welcome for everybody, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are, what programs we offer. I'll cover every program, and what is our admissions process. And as Lee said, there'll be some Q&A. As far as the program presentations, there's 2 slides per program. The first slide will talk a little bit about what the program is looking for in a student. It also talks a little bit, bullet points, so it's real simple. 2 or 3 things that they're going to learn on a very high level in that major. And then the second slide has the tuition cost, the length of the program, and then the growth over the next 10 years by a percentage. So you'll see it's pretty easy to follow. The other thing is I'd strongly recommend you go to porterchester1word.edu, and that'll give you a much more in-depth explanation of what the programs are that we offer. Our admissions process, like everybody else, is virtual right now. We pivoted back in March like everybody else did. And I do say we were very, very fortunate because being a technical school like us, we have IT professionals that teach that. So it was pretty easy to pivot. It's still a little bit of a learning curve for all of us. Now it's almost been a year, but our application process is an online process. It's real easy. And I'll go over a little bit of that. Just as long as, just get this right out there now, no SATs. There is a Wonderlic test. Which is the basic English, math, and reasoning, as you guys are familiar with, the Wonderlic test. And then if somebody goes into, say, nursing, that would be the TEAS test, the essential test. But other than that, that's the only testing that we do, or assessments that we have for our incoming students. As far as the requirements, it's a high school diploma or, of course, or a GED. We do have a fantastic resource and team support. And if there's a student from a foreign country, and I know you guys are high school and adult ed and everything, but if somebody does know somebody that is from a foreign country and they have a high school diploma from the foreign country, we have a two-pronged approach. We can both, first of all, find out what the diploma coincides with in our world, and then we verify it. So that's also available as well. Anyway, high schools are near and dear to my heart. They always have been. And I just get this right out there. Both my parents were high school teachers, and one was a high school counselor, actually. So, I really love high schools, and I do a lot of webinars, but this one's really special. I really appreciate Lee giving me a chance to talk to you a little bit about who we are. So we congratulate all the graduates, of course, when they graduate. High school's not easy. Anybody that thinks that it's easy, they're really misinformed, and it's hard. It's hard from the pressure viewpoint. It's hard from academics viewpoint. It's hard. It's just hard. And the students that graduate, they should be congratulated. And you guys, by the way, do an excellent job. It's okay to set your sights on careers in healthcare, computers, and skilled trades. 4 or more year colleges aren't for everybody. They are for many, but they're not for everybody. And then career education and training, and particularly, recently, is much more than a consolation prize. And I go back, actually, it's 30 years I've been in this industry. I've had a lot of different positions within the organization. I've just had a lot of positions in different areas. And so I understand this business, and the high school's being really near and dear to me. I totally understand going back 20, 25 years ago, the mindset, but I also understand that right now with this way student debt is and the way, default and it's the student debt is following these poor students for the rest of their life. It's really, really something that we see at Porter and Chester when students come to us already having been to maybe 3 years of college and then dropped out for whatever reason. So again, maybe back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, it would be like, well, Jack is going to be an electrician. He couldn't get into UConn, he doesn't have the money to go to University of Hartford or whatever. So Jack's gonna, he's gonna find a way to make it in life. He's gonna be an HVAC guy or something like that. And it used to be okay. I mean, that's fine. I always knew it was a good thing, but now it's kind of okay to be that. And I do understand. I do understand we all have metrics and we all have things that we live by, and students come first. And I see a lot of students come to us right now with 1 year of community college. Maybe they came out of the military. Maybe they already graduated from college. Maybe they have 2 years of college, whatever. And they come for a career. So that's what we do. We're not ashamed of it. Actually, we're quite proud of it. And we're growing. We're moving campuses, adding programs. And it's really a very, very necessary part of education these days. And I know you guys know that. You see it every day. But it's more than a consolation prize. And a lot of our students are very proud. They make a very good living for themselves. The 5 great things about Porter and Chester Institute, really quick. We are New England born and raised. I'm going to show you a map in a second. You'll see where we're located. We've been around since '46. We have our hands-on component. These days, it's lab simulation as well as on-campus lab. When we're on campus, like all of us, small groups, and it's the COVID precautions and everything. And then the teams to support you. All 12 campuses are under the same management team. We have one president, one CEO. We have one corporate director of admissions and marketing, VP of education, educational funding. That's good because we have a standard, consistent, really tight management and policy and procedure. And that's good because, knowing this industry well, some other schools similar to ours, they may have 5 campuses and they all operate on their own individually. And that's fine if that works for them. We don't like that. We want a standardization that goes right across all the campuses. You get much more support for the students. We are ACCSC accredited, very strict accreditation. I think the last time I checked, there are about 900 schools across the country. Maybe they're up to 1,000 now. We're also accredited by ABHAS and things like that, programmatically. But our major accreditation is with ACCSC, which means, of course, we can give Title IV funding. And they're good. They're strict. When I used to run campuses, I liked them. I was nervous every time they came every 5 years, and a couple of times they found a few things. I'm proud of the team. It's not me, but a couple of campuses we got blue ribbons, and that makes you feel good and stuff. But accreditation is so key today, and that just keeps everybody in the right track. Okay, our mission, vision, and values. It really is centered around the student, and that's how we feel. 30 years ago when I first started in this industry, the president at the time who's long gone now, but he came to me, he said, Jack, I don't want you to enroll somebody that doesn't belong here. I said, yes, sir. And he said, if somebody wants to inquire about our school and it's a good fit, then welcome them in. If it's not a good fit, then at least we got a chance to meet them. And I cover the 12 campuses. I do all the admissions. Everybody reports to me, and everybody has that same mentality. There's no sale going on here. There's no hard pressure. We don't need to do that. And if anybody ever did that to my son or my daughter, my wife or sister, neighbor, I wouldn't like it. We don't do that. So it's a collaboration between the student and us. If we're a good fit, great. If we're not a good fit, that's okay too. Our values, very important: professionalism, teamwork, integrity, excellence, trust, relationships, accountability, and having fun. Those are our values. And that's what we also work with our students as well. Having fun. Some people have a little bit more fun than others, but in all seriousness, joke. But I mean, in all seriousness, we do find a lot of times students will come to us and they'll say, I was marginal in math. I barely got out of algebra 1, or geometry. And in my sophomore year, I just hit a wall or whatever. And then when they come to us, because the math is applied in CAD or in computers or fractions and decimals and metric conversion in automotive or whatever it is, and they start succeeding because it's applied math, they start having fun. And it's really gratifying. All right, we'll just keep going here. All right, so this is good. This is the map of Massachusetts and Connecticut. So we have campuses in Chicopee, Worcester, Brockton. We just moved out of Canton and got to Brockton, right off of Route 24. It's a really nice location. It's right across from Brockton High School, by the way. So it's Chicopee, Worcester, Brockton. Then we're in Enfield. We're in Waterbury, Rocky Hill, Stratford, Hamden, and New London. And the reason why, of course, many business people, when I do, some of these things, they say, Jack, that's not the most proficient business model for EBITDA or for profit. And it's like, yeah, we know that, but it's the most efficient for the student. For example, Connecticut, 3.6 million people, less than the population of Long Island. What are you doing with 6 campuses in a little tiny state like Connecticut? Well, it would be a lot more cost efficient if we boiled them all down and threw one in Rocky Hill and threw one in Stratford. You'd have heating costs would be less. You wouldn't have to plow as much snow. Yeah, of course, you'd make a better bottom line. But you'd have your classes would be larger. Students would have to travel farther. That's 2 things. But the major thing is you would lose the community involvement. Just like your high schools are embedded in the community. Our campuses, all of our campuses are embedded in the community. We know the employers. We know the high schools and the adult education, the local politicians, the banks, and all that type of thing. So it's important when our students graduate for their career opportunities to be really well known. And that's really important thing. Point that out to you. Where are our graduates working? Small example of it. If you go to portchester.edu, you'll see video testimonials by employers and things like that. A lot of alumni, thousands of alumni. We pick these out, and no special reason why, but that's just a small sampling. Again, I know I'm going fast. Career services, our employer-focused curriculum. So we have PAC committees, program advisory committees, and we meet several times a year with them. They're comprised of 2 or 3 people from the industry in the community. It's one at every campus for every program. So they come in and they say, I own such and such a machine shop, or I'm Dr. Smith from the dental office, or whatever it is. So they come in and then they tell us what they want our graduates to know. So our curriculum is really based on what employers have told us is important to them. And we do change it. I'd say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I pretty guesstimate probably about 5 to 10%, maybe in some cases a little bit more, but usually about 5 to 10% we change our curriculum annually based on new, EMR software, based on a new AutoCAD program, things like that. But it's employer-focused curriculum. Full-time career service advisors, that's important. We don't outsource our graduates to some staffing agency, never have. Our graduates will work with somebody that works for Porter and Chester. They're an employee that's invested in that student's success. We do not guarantee employment. We tell all the students that right out of the gate, and we can't guarantee anything, and we don't guarantee employment, and we don't guarantee financial aid. But we do tell you we'll do everything we can to help you. And we do. It's a really good service advisor team. Ongoing career assistance. If somebody graduates and they get out there and they lose their job or they outgrow their job or whatever, they can always come back to us again and we can freshen up their resume and work with them. It goes without saying we have a ton of contacts. We have huge databases, and some majors, we have multiple, offers. It depends on the major sometimes. And it depends on the time of year too. Electrical is real hot. Medical assistant is hot. Dental's hot. We have the practical nursing program, of course, and those things. So as you're looking at this slide, we have healthcare, skilled trades, and technology. And now I'm going to go right into it. So it'll be 2 slides per program. So dental assisting. Of course, how to assist the dentist in a chairside procedure, how to take and develop digital and analog x-rays, and how to assist with crown and bridge work, in addition to many, many other things. But this is a very high level. You can see their students are working on a mannequin here. Do you like to work well with others? And are you detail-oriented and organized? Here's the tuition here. Here's the length of the program. And bottom right is the career outlook, looking forward into the next 10 years. So yeah, you'll see the same blueprint. So that's our dental assistant program. Medical assistant, similar, taking patients' histories, creating and maintaining EMRs, performing vital signs, blood draws, EKGs, basic lab procedures, phlebotomy. That's what they're doing in this picture right now. Medical assistant, we started in 1993 in Waterbury campus at the time. And I remember people saying, what is a medical assistant? We know what a CNA is. We know what an LPN is. We know what a secretary is, an administrative assistant. What is a medical assistant? And the only way I could really, kind of bridge the gap, it was like if you take the administrative portion of medical and you take the clinical portion of it and you put them together, you get a medical assistant. They can work the front office, they can work the back office, and they're very valuable. And they're the people that we see when we get physicals and things like that. Do you like caring for others? And are you an effective communicator? Again, here's the cost. It's only a 9-month program, and it's got a 19% career growth. So why I point this out is, like, we have a lot of CNAs come to us. We have students that maybe have gone to, a community college, taken some anatomy courses or something like that, and they decide, hey, I want to get a career, and I want to get a career that I know is in demand. Well, they'll come here. It'll cost them this much money, and then it's only this 9 months, and then they're out, and then they're on their way. Now, in addition to the tuition, there is a student service fee. There's a laptop involved in there and some ebooks and things like that. And that goes on top of the tuition through the educational funding department, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Practical nursing, this is in 5 campuses, our 5 Connecticut campuses. And obviously, really popular program. It's a practical nursing program, not an LPN program. I know you're professionals and you know that. But people say, Jack, you didn't say you had an LPN program. Well, nobody really has an LPN program. They have a practical nursing program. And with the practical nursing program, we'll teach them how to change dressings and work with patient histories, record patient information, so much more. But it also prepares them for the NCLEX exam when they graduate. So students graduate from Porter and Chester with a diploma, nationally recognized by ACC accreditation and that type. So it's a really good program. And the state of Connecticut Board of Nursing Examiners, they actually present to every school, no matter who's teaching it, a certain type of curriculum. So that curriculum is pretty much a standard that comes handed down by, the Office of Health, throughout the state of Connecticut. And then when the student graduates from the practical nursing program and they take the NCLEX, then they get their license. Now they become an LPN. So I know it's just a semantics type of thing, but it's a practical nursing program that will lead to an LPN when you pass a NCLEX. You like caring for others? Yes. Are you personal and compassionate? Tuition is here. Length of the program is here, and outlook over here, growth here. It's probably a little bit higher now because of COVID. These particular statistics are probably about a year old now. Cosmetology, misunderstood program. There's chemistry, there's math, there's anatomy. It's a 1,500 course, clock hour course program, and it has great opportunities when you graduate and get licensed, because you can rent a chair in a salon. You can work, from different locations, and it's only offered in our Rocky Hill campus. Basic and advanced men's and women's hair cutting techniques, how to apply makeup and artificial lashes, basics of nail care, enhancements, and sculpt in different textures. We do not have an a la carte program. Some of our competitors will say you can take a 2-month program on just nails, or if you just want to do cosmetics or something, you can break that out. We don't break it out. It's a full program, and so it's a little bit different. They'll go from all of it. They have to take the whole thing. And then this Bella Vita down below here is the name of the salon in our Rocky Hill campus. The students named it. It's a pretty cool name, and the public comes to get their hair done. Well, a lot of our students do as well. And then we have free time, for vets and for elderly people, things like that. It is a good major for somebody that really wants to get involved and maybe sometimes be an entrepreneur too, work on their own and things. Do you have an eye for style and trends, and do you enjoy using your creativity? And they should add there, do you like working with people? It's, we all have haircuts, and, you get your hair done, you get your hair cut. And it takes a special person to do this job. And those that do it really love it. I love to talk to people. Here's your tuition, here's your length, and it's steady. All right, we'll keep moving here. Automotive technology. This is a big one, and of course, throughout New England, it's big. Throughout Arizona, it's big everywhere in the country. And the equipment that we teach with them, a lot of computers, Versus Pro and Modus, also computerized alignment systems. And students are issued a Snap-on toolbox right here. This is actually, they call it toolbox, but it's pretty heavy. So it's actually a tool bag, and it's on wheels so that they can wheel it back and forth. And of course, I tell the students, mark it with an engraver and leave your tools in the trunk, especially if you're at the mall. It's, a couple of $1,000s worth of tools there. So our students will go bumper to bumper. They'll go through all the diagnostics. They'll go through all of the engines, the electrical, the transmissions. And why that's so important, and I mention it, is that this right here, this logo, ASE, stands for Automotive Service Excellence Certified. When you go to the dealership and somebody's working on your car, if you see that gear there with the ASE on somebody's patch on your arm, you've got a good person there. An ASE designation, we don't give it. It's a national designation. There's 8 categories. But students that come out of the school, come out of us, they can go, and after a certain amount of time in the field, they can take the individual 8 exams and become a master ASE technician. Or they could take 1 or 2 and become a specialist in whatever it is, engines or transmissions or electronics. This automotive is big, and we find a lot of high school students will sometimes be, and don't take this wrong, please don't take it wrong what I'm about to say, but sometimes what happens, a lot of high school students will get kind of brought over to a dealership, and the dealership will, bring them in and say, don't go to a school like Porter and Chester. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Come on in. I'll give you like an online course for, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months. We'll teach you how to do just this, and you'll be all set. And they bring them in, they pay them for just that, and then the students there. Now, how my approach to that is, if that works for you, God bless you. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But if you're a young individual and you're looking forward to a career in automotive, you probably want to get a lot more than that. You want to get the whole car, and that's kind of what we do. So they don't get stuck in one particular thing, and we see that a lot. Well, they'll go there, and then a lot of times we have a lot of relationships with a lot of dealerships. If they get a real good student, sometimes they say, "Hey, look at Johnny's really good, and we'll send him over there. We'll give him a couple of bucks to go to school too, and and help him." So that type of thing. But this is a major that is really misunderstood quite a bit, and it's very lucrative if you get in there, and you can work your way up into all types of things. You like to work with your hands. Are you reliable and dependable? So there's the tuition, there's the length, and it is steady. Career HVAC, the R is for refrigeration, walk-in coolers, ice machines, where you get your TV dinners and Stop and Shop. That's all refrigeration. So it's HVAC-R. How to install, maintain, and troubleshoot HVAC units, the basics of sheet metal ductwork, repair and installation, the electrical principles required for burners, ignition systems, and such. Yeah, this is, again, I always tell the students, we don't educate students to be parts changers. Anybody can change a part, unless it's a serpentine belt on your engine. Nobody can change that. But I mean, in all seriousness, anybody can change a part if you know what's wrong. But the people that make the money, and what we do with our students, is we teach them how to diagnose what's wrong. So this is an instructor, of course, looking over the shoulder of one of our students, and this is a real picture. And you can see the furnaces here. So that's key. This student is going to find out what's broken through diagnostics, and then we're going to replace that part. And that's, of course, where the education comes in. Do you like solving problems, and are you reliable and dependable? Here it is: tuition, length, growth. Plumbing goes without saying. This is a big one, and yeah, they make they make money. These individuals, if you can get them to the house sometimes. They make money. It's not an easy course. It's a lot more to it than people realize, but that's what you want. You know, you want somebody that knows how to read blueprints and follow them. Look at this building codes. It is all over the place. And that's what you want. You know, that's what we want. You know, I mean, this isn't something you do just as, you know, as like a little hobby. I know my wife lets me paint. I can cut bushes and stuff like that, but I can't touch anything in plumbing or electrical, and that's not a good idea. You either get hurt or you'll mess something up. So you have to call a pro for that. And that's why things like plumbing and electrical and HVAC and auto, you know, leave it up to a professional. You'll pay for it, but it'll be worth it in the end. Do you like working with your hands, and are you a natural problem solver? Here's your tuition. Here's your length. Here's your growth. Electrical. We name it industrial, commercial, and residential because it covers all those areas, 1026. And so this is electrical program. Good program. Same thing, tuition, length, and growth. Electronics is low voltage. It's alarm systems, security systems, home entertainment, things like that. CAD, love this one, bro. This program is awesome. You know, you got the 3D printers, and they can do both. You know, the curriculum is actually a split curriculum in terms of being, you know, architectural and mechanical as well. Revit, AutoCAD, that type of thing. Computer network technology, huge. Webster Bank, school systems, insurance companies, you know, you name it, especially now. And then steps of success. So this again is what we like to do with our students is we don't just teach them the education. We also talk about being dependable and taking a self-assessment. You know, are you self-aware? You know, how is your appearance? Not just what you're wearing, but how do you present yourself and that type of thing. Because ultimately, you know, they're walking out just like your grads walk out and they say, I went to, you know, such and such a high school. It's the same thing. I went to Porter and Chester. We want them to be a good example of what we teach, and we also want them to be successful in life. So there is a lot of that, and we're very proud of that. Okay, this is really the educational funding. This is the key, of course. You know, nobody has any money and they don't have any time. And when they come to a school like ours, it costs money and it costs time. And so we're aware of that. And our educational funding department works directly for Porter and Chester Institute. We have one at every one of our campuses. The financial aid is available for those who qualify, of course. And when the students come, they fill out their FSA ID. That's your key to their FAFSA. Then they do their FAFSA, and then we meet with them, and then we take a look at all the different options that they have as far as gap funding, student loans, grants. You know, there are Pell grants, as you guys know, and that type of thing. And then there are scholarships. The best scholarship is Imagine America, right, Lee? It is great. We've done thousands and thousands of them, and I've seen students break down and cry in our office. I mean, $1,000 is a lot of money, especially to somebody who might be in the bottom, you know, part of their class, you know, and they're not an athlete and they don't play the cello or something like that. And all of a sudden, I'm getting a scholarship. It's just so great. So we have the Imagine America Scholarship over here. And as I said before, we've worked very successfully, thousands and thousands of scholarships over the years with Imagine America. Porter and Chester also has a $2,000 scholarship that is available to the high school students, a high school graduate. It's so simple. We do not test them or anything else like that. If they're a high school graduate in that given year, what we require them to do is to take their high school scholarship certificate and bring it back to their high school guidance counselor or somebody that would be assigned, however they want to do it at the school. And as long as you guys sign off on it type of thing, then they'll be awarded the $2,000. So if they put that together, all of a sudden there's $3,000 potential here. Again, scholarships are so important. And then classes forming online. Classes forming now and applying online. We have starts every 3 months. And so our next class starting for your graduates would be in July. And then we have another one actually starting in August. So it's every 10 weeks now. So we'll start in July, we'll start in August, and we have another one in October. And I know I talked fastly, but I think I got under the wire. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, all right, great. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our session. I'm also going to throw up a poll on the screen. If you would like Porter and Chester or the Imagine America Foundation to send you an email with upcoming virtual events for your seniors, please indicate so on the poll so that we know who to reach out to there. Now, Jack, it does look like we had the first question. This person wants to know if they wanted to contact Porter and Chester Institute, should they just call the local campus off of the website, or could they contact you directly?
Okay, thanks, Lee. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go to porterchester.edu and just put in a request for information right there. And then that'll go right into our system, and then somebody will contact. They'll email, they'll text, and they'll call. That's your best bet.
Okay, and then this person wants to know about housing. I don't think you guys have dorms, and I know you touched on that earlier on why you have so many campuses in Connecticut.
Right.
In case you have a student who's interested in coming to your school from, let's say, New York or New Jersey, is there something that you guys offer that can accommodate them? Is it, partnerships with a local apartment complex or something like that?
We don't really have that. Most of the admissions counselors that we have been in the industry a long time. My average is like 11, 12 years. So they may have some contacts, but we don't generally put that out there. But we'll be supportive and try to, encourage them, but we don't have anything that we could point them to directly that's related to us as a company.
Gotcha. That's fine. Okay. All right. And one last question. This person wants to know, and I think you actually had touched on that earlier in the presentation, but about SAT scores. Is there a requirement on SAT scores to get into Porter and Chester? I think you had mentioned earlier that you don't require SAT scores necessarily, but they are going to have to be interviewed by the school. Can you kind of talk about that a little?
Oh yeah, sure. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, right. We want to, first of all, as far as the assessments coming in, no SATs, and we do have the Wonderlic test, and we have the TEAS test for those that are going to go into nursing. So the Wonderlic test gives us a good indication of whether or not they're going to be able to get through the textbooks and things like that, and they can take it a couple of times. So that's it as far as testing. Then what was the second question?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So just a few things. I know we promised a 10:30 close and we're a little bit over that, but just a few things I want to mention. This session has been recorded. We will be sending the recording out to you likely tomorrow morning so that you can rewatch it or forward it along to any students or parents or other colleagues of yours that you work with. We'll also be placing this on our website. There is a quick survey, if you wouldn't mind filling that out when you leave the session today. When we close this, it's 4 questions long. It just really helps us. Any feedback that you'd be able to provide to us would be very helpful, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your days today. I know that due to the pandemic, this is the busiest year that it's busy everywhere, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I also want to thank Jack for sharing with us today's presentation and encourage each and every one of you to contact him directly with any future questions. I will include his email address in the email that I send you with the recording of this presentation. So if you want to contact him, you can do that then. But on behalf of the foundation, Jack and myself, I just want to thank you all, and goodbye.
Goodbye.